Show host Savannah Guthrie disappeared from her southern Arizona home. The first one demanded millions in cryptocurrency, and the second claimed that she had died. The FBI reportedly concluded that whoever wrote the notes did not know Guthrie's whereabouts. It said a third note sent late last month through TMZ was also fake. In Phoenix, I'm
$3 million. The 19,000 square foot three-story home has 10 bedrooms and 12 bathrooms spread out over 2.5 acres. It features a recording studio, wine cellar, poker room, and a panoramic view of Lake Tahoe, just to name a few highlights. The legendary 85-year-old artist and his wife have called this property home for more than 40 years. Authentic Brands Group has signed a definitive agreement to acquire the intellectual property of Care Bears.
The sale expands Authentic's reach into family entertainment and marks its first character-based franchise. Its IP portfolio already includes Elvis Presley, Muhammad Ali, and Marilyn Monroe. The company launched Authentic Studios in 2023 to develop and produce films, television, commercials, live stage experiences, and audio. It will now play a central role in extending the Care Bears universe through new stories, audiences, and fan experiences. The Care Bears have reached consumers in more than 190 countries, appearing in 26 languages, and have a growing slate of visual media. I'm Tammy Trujillo.
From America's News Network, USA Radio News.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled, and it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives, and MediShare is proven. You can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted, it works, it's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
The Coast Guard says it has seized more than $63 million worth of illicit drugs in a major maritime interdiction effort. Officials say crews aboard the cutter Bear conducted multiple operations in the Eastern Pacific with partner agencies before offloading the drugs in Florida as part of ongoing counter-narcotics missions. A U.S. Navy ship with deep San Diego ties is now deep on the ocean floor after a live-fire exercise in the Pacific.
The USS Juno was intentionally sunk on Friday about 200 miles from Guam during Operation Valiant Shield. It was hit by a B-2 bomber missile and a torpedo from a Japanese submarine before it went down. The ship served out of Naval Base San Diego for years and supported missions from Vietnam to Desert Storm before retiring in 2008. The Navy plans to sink more retired ships, including the USS Peleliu and USS Mobile Bay, in the coming weeks as training continues. I'm John Fink.
4th of July weekend means fireworks, picnics, and patriotism. It also can mean some major discounts for shoppers.
Summer's just officially begun, but retailers are already looking ahead to fall, and you might get some big bargains on things that you will use between now and Labor Day at one of the many long holiday weekend sales. The website Dad Deals suggests you look for discounts on swimwear and other summer fashions, grills, and other outdoor gear. You may find lower prices on major appliances, too. Expert shoppers say to wait on tech, though, with better deals coming during the back-to-school sales, which will begin in a matter of weeks. I'm Daria Albinger.
I'm Ron Warner, USA Radio News.
You can help put vets to work by donating your car, truck, or van. Your donation will directly support programs to help vets find jobs or even start their own business. Donate today for fast, free pickup of your vehicle. Call 800-209-4580 for 24-hour response. Call 800-209-4580. That's 800-209-4580.
Dependable Lock Service is your source for replacement car keys, custom safes from Liberty Safe, and so many more lock and key services. With over 30 years of experience in lock and key industry, there's nothing Dependable Lock Service can't do for you. Whether you're looking for duplicate automotive chip keys, rekeying commercial and residential locks, or custom safe building, we've got you covered. Call 603-886-0559. Nashua's Dependable Lock Services, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
The sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning. I'm Ed Mullen from Nashua Aerial Advertising. There's no better way to advertise your business and or message than high in the sky. How can you make your advertising budget work for you? By putting your ads up where they'll stand out. The Sky is an uncluttered, impressive venue. You can put your message over a region or location to target your desired demographic. Put your ads where they're needed. We provide coverage over communities through Merrimack Valley, Greater Nashua, Manchester, Lowell, and points throughout South Central New Hampshire and North Central Mass. Summertime beaches, sporting events, races, fairs, and festivals are all ready-made for banner telling. For more information, please visit us online at NashuaAerialAdvertising.com. And remember, the sky's not the limit, it's just the beginning.
Tired of wondering where your money really goes? At Mammoth Nation, we built what was missing. The America First Marketplace. Every brand we feature is 100% American owned and operated, rigorously vetted for their values and committed to supporting our Constitution, law enforcement, and the American dream. When you shop with us, your dollar stays in the neighborhood, supporting families, veterans, and charities like Folds of Honor. No more sending your hard-earned money overseas to the companies that don't respect you here. Your dollar reflects your values. Your dollar, your values. Your America. Join Mammoth Nation today and be part of building a patriot economy by going to TruckersUnitedForFreedom.com affiliate page and hit that link. American built, America strong, Mammoth Nation.
The views and opinions of the following show do not reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Welcome to the Common Sense Conservatives, a political discussion group about current events and other government-related matters every Wednesday evening from 7 to 8 p.m. Right here on WSMN 1590 AM, WSMN 95.3 FM, and streaming live on wsmn.live. Making sense of the inverted reality we are subject to every day, the Common Sense Conservatives are here to help bring you back to reality. Now, your hosts, Chris Wyatt, Todd McKinley, and John Grothman.
All right. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Common Sense Conservative. It's Wednesday night at 7 Eastern, right here on WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. It is the Common Sense Conservative, joined by my co-host, John Grosvenor, holding down the studio there in downtown Nashua. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Todd. You know, just another happy hot day here in lovely Nashua, New Hampshire. I couldn't get any hot. Oh, no, tomorrow's supposed to be hotter. I'll take that back.
Right. Well, what did it hit up there? It sounded like a bunch of old men here talking about the weather and stuff.
Oh,
what did
it
hit up there today?
I was seeing 98 in the car when I was coming into the studio this afternoon. I know I went to work on the truck today down in Lowell, Massachusetts, where it's parked, and right. I didn't last long. I'm like, yep, you know what? Nope, I got a little bit done. I'm done. I'm going home.
Yeah, smart man. Yeah, I went out and ran a couple errands today, and saw that it was 103 on the truck thermometer today. So, little too warm for my blood. What about you there in Central PA there, Colonel?
Well, I don't know. People complain about the heat. Try wearing Mop 4 when it's 108 degrees in Saudi Arabia. Bunch of whining crybabies in this country. I'll tell you, we've grown soft. Anyway, yeah, no, it hit triple digits here in central Pennsylvania today. I stepped outside, and honestly, as long as you weren't in the sun, even though the humidity was a bit higher, it wasn't horrible. But I've seen temperatures far in excess of this in the Middle East and, of course, in Arizona. But it's not good. It really pushes the demand for electricity up, puts a lot of strain on the power systems of the country. And if you're French, it makes excuses for why your country sucks.
Right, yeah. It is so hot. Well, what if it's too cold?
No. The French, yeah, there you go. The French, the deputy mayor of Paris thought she was clever and was attacking America. Oh, you are the climate criminals. They're all dying in Paris. They've had like over 2,000 deaths from the extreme heat, and they have no air conditioners because they're just idiots. And so she's complaining that we're polluting the environment with air conditioners. Air conditioners are not the primary cause of global warming. Even if carbon dioxide was the cause, look to China. They produce 3 times as much pollution as the United States. She's an idiot. Meanwhile, thousands of people are dying in France from heat prostration and drowning in its rivers and ponds and lakes in the ocean by diving in the water to escape the heat. Now, here's a little tip. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be cold, but if you can't swim, don't jump in the water.
Right. Yeah. Magically, I'm cooled off. I'm going to float back to the top. Yeah. There's no some sort of, as your body cools, you will be you'll be propelled back to the surface. You'll be fine. No problem. You'll be able to float for several hours because it's so hot. No, you'll die just the same. Sorry.
Well, you tend to float after you're dead, so it's
Yeah.
usually the
Right.
case.
Yeah. The gases and all that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, well, we talk about the nicest things there. Dead and bloated.
Well, did I mention Joe Biden?
No, he's the Walking Dead.
Right.
Sorry, I thought that was an HBO show or Max or Showtime or something like that.
Well, speaking of term limits, Mitch McConnell was found unconscious in his home last month as the conditions remain unknown. Senator Majority Leader John Thune says the retiring Kentucky senator remains dialed in despite his ongoing recovery. There's no word exactly why he collapsed, but he is on his way out. It's just one of those updates that's not even a real update. It's like, why would you not tell us what actually happened to him? If let us know what the problem is. Don't say we're still unsure. Don't give us an update until you're sure. I don't know. But there's too many people in the House and the Senate that are like this, that are just, I don't know, that are not capable physically and mentally, in a lot of respects, to actually carry out the duties of the job.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure how to respond. You're right.
It was just a statement. I was reading that and I was like, well, what's the update here? What was the actual cause? Well, no update. I was thinking that we would have some breaking news there. Fox News just saying no cause as of yet. But anyway,
you made a valid point, though. They don't want to say, "Oh, the man's suffering from severe dementia and he's totally useless in Congress," and because then somebody's going to replace him in a seat, right? But if they stay there, they can make decisions in his honor and
on his behalf.
Yeah, and on his behalf, and decide for him and control that power, because he's a power broker in D.C.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
He's a walking corpse.
His office is a power broking office for sure.
Exactly. He's a walking corpse.
Yeah. It's like Ted Kennedy back in the day. I remember we were up there. It was a close vote. I was with Vice President Cheney. We were outside of his Senate office, which is just behind the dais in the Senate. Those doors that you see along the wall that they come in and out of, the senators do. I watched Ted Kennedy get off basically out of a wheelchair. They got him in there. He walked 3 or 4 steps in, and he stood up. It made him look like he was just with it. People came over, shook his hand. He was waving with everybody. Everybody was clapping like the Lion of the Senate is here. He looks like he's in charge. He's roaring, what you're hearing on the news. And he walks out of that door, and he almost collapsed. They had to grab him and put him back in this little chair. I mean, just talk about acting 101. I mean, they had it down to a science there for sure.
Hey, John, isn't it interesting? Todd, it's pretty cool. He can drop names like Cheney and Bush and Joe Biden, and all we can do is like, yeah, look, I saw my neighbor mowing the lawn today.
Oh no, I've been to DC. I've seen these people walking the halls, but it's been a few years now since I've last been.
Well, I guess I'm the odd man out here. I don't know any of these famous people.
I'm just saying how you watch these staffers like prop these folks up, and because we were watching it on a TV, C-SPAN, off on one corner, and I'm watching it from behind the scenes, watching him trying to be helped up. They're helping him through the door. Once their doors open, he kind of walked in on his own and stood there like he's good to go, no problem. He didn't move around the Senate floor at all. He stood like 2-3 steps inside the door, shook some hands. Once the cameras panned off of him, he walked out and almost collapsed just outside the door. And I'm like, this is what these staffers do, man. They prop these old fogies up and make them seem as if they're still with it. They still got it.
They spin the yarn is what they do. They're telling stories. Yeah. And I just want to walk it back a second here and go back to what Chris said. I don't want to give anybody the wrong impression that these folks in DC know me, because they don't know me. I'll assure you of that right now. I know who they are. They don't know who I am. But
okay, just checking. Yeah, no, look, Todd has had the experience of seeing the staffers in DC. I have seen them in DC as well. And meetings, but my experience with staffers is seldom around the principals, not around the members of Congress, but actually when they're by themselves. And I would say that 8 out of 10 staffers I meet are complete arrogant trolls and nasty human beings who act as if they're the elected member of Congress, and they talk as if they are in the seat. Whether that is in briefing these clowns who know nothing about Africa, but try to browbeat me and dress me down when I've come there to provide them information and provide a service. a bunch of twits with milk dripping behind their ear, 22, 24, 26 years old, or on the staff delegates that come overseas to our embassies, and they act as if they're Senator Russ Feingold. Oh, yeah. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, that guy.
And you think about it, and I've seen them from behind the scenes before. What they'll do before they go to some of these types of briefings or meetings, they'll get a number of talking points and a few little points, if you will, to be able to use to sound as if they're intelligent on something. But if you ask them just a few questions, like the Colonel I'm sure has, you find out that it's just a facade that they're throwing up in the moment, and it doesn't last past a few questions. Am I right?
No, it doesn't. In my experience, is that many of them go to the same crappy so-called Ivy League schools, not exclusively, but many do. And they all think they're so clever, but they really can't box their way out of a wet paper bag because they just really are just so full of themselves. Now, having said that, there are some very good professional staffers on the Hill that do a fantastic job. And the professional staffers bounce from representative, senator to senator because they're professional, permanent people. It's the political sycophants that are attached as staffers that I'm talking about. The losers that come from Wisconsin or come from California, and suddenly they think they're bigwigs and their undershorts are too tight for them. Which, if I say, then maybe you should stop eating so much and get bigger undershorts. Just saying.
Well, Chris, they are gatekeepers, and all information travels from you to them, to the senator. And there's been times I've had friends that commented, said, "Yeah, son, you got to realize some of these 23-year-olds are pretty much running this country because the senators and the congressmen only know what they're being told by this 23-year-old."
Very true. Very
well,
true.
I mean, if you ever hear members of Congress talk, you realize pretty quickly that they're dumber than boxes of rocks. You know, it's obvious that they don't know what they're saying. They get up there. I mean, listen to these Democrats, and the one that always killed me is when they brought in and they tried to be clever. Pocahontas was in there, I think, and a couple others, and they were trying to grill the members of the banking community. J.P. Morgan was there, and with Jamie Dimon. And others were there, these bankers, and they're like, how much money did you make off of student loans last year? Yeah,
zero
for the camera, and he made nothing. What do you mean he made nothing? Oh, well, because President Obama basically stole the student loan program 8 years ago. We no longer in the private sector make loans. The loans now come from the American taxpayer, and their jaws just like. But you know what? That doesn't matter. You expose them, they're recorded, and they move right on with their next lie. It just shows you how stupid these people are. And you know whose fault it is? It's our fault for electing these retards. It's absolutely our fault.
I'm not totally convinced we're electing anybody.
That's a fair point, John. Yeah, you're right. None of us in this room are counting the votes.
That's true, right?
What was it? Somebody quoted Lenin. Was it Lenin or Stalin? It's not how many people vote. It's how many people are counting, or who's counting.
It's who counts the votes. That's right.
Right.
Yep.
But you got to realize too, a lot of what these members of Congress are voting on and what their political agendas are. This was decided 10, 20, 30 years ago. Some of these agendas. I mean, it was in the early 2000s. We were hearing about 2021 there, but now you got the agenda 2030, talking about Agenda 2030. They've got plans for the future they've already laid out. They have delegations. They send the United Nations and they make agreements and stuff. They come back and start creating legislation. This is not consent of we the people anymore. This is we send delegations out. They make decisions. We start making legislation. We see what they're doing. We go to D.C. We talk to them and say, hey, I'm not too certain this is a good idea. They're just nodding their head yes and writing down on a piece of paper, screw this guy. He's just yapping out, we're going to do what we want to do anyway. And you pretty much leave the office thinking you might have accomplished something. All that stuff you brought in there goes to the trash. They're doing what they want to do anyway. That's basically what I'm getting at. It's partisanship agenda being pushed through. It's delegations going to the United Nations and agreements being made there being pushed through. We, the people, are no longer giving our consent. We got to come to a realization about that.
Yep. Okay. I agree.
Interesting.
I just felt the need to say it out loud.
Sure. So according to Fox News, Columbus, Ohio raised a Somali flag and said, Happy Somali Independence Day on a tweet, according to their Parks and Recreation X post, I guess, sparking a lot of outrage there. A Somali flag flying above a city in the United States, for crying out loud. I mean, there's no reason for that unless, say, a member of Somali delegation was coming there for something official. and it was something that we were recognizing. But to throw it up there celebrating their independence, what the heck's going on? I mean, I know they have a large Somali population there, but still, you're gonna fly the flag over something that should have the United States flag or the Ohio flag?
Well,
It's
first
sick.
off, Columbus, Ohio doesn't have a large Somali population. That's Springfield. So this is just utter nonsense. The officials at Columbus, Ohio should be exposed. They should be removed from whatever position they're in, whether it's a salary position or elected position, and be drummed out of the state of Ohio because they're treasonous bastards. This is not Somalia. You don't raise the flag of foreign nations to celebrate their
No.
independence. Get the hell out of this country. If you don't like it, Somalia is a lovely place. Enjoy your time there.
Why are you
Yeah,
here? If you
absolutely.
want to celebrate Somalia. Why are you here? The idea is to come over here and acclimate and become a U.S. citizen and enjoying the prosperity, not bring your garbage from another country.
Well, this is just like the nonsense of the Biden regime putting the pride flag up at American embassies and diplomatic missions around the world.
Right.
Pride flag is a sexual orientation flag. It's not representing the republic, and it's disgraceful to put such a thing up. There are exceptions to flags that can be flown on official sites, like the POW and MIA flag is an exception.
Right.
That is an official thing. But this pride thing is not. We shouldn't be Do
Right.
we have a heterosexual flag? Should we fly the Christian flag? Imagine the outrage if the United States
Oh, they'd
institutions.
be burning. Yeah.
Oh, yes, they flew the
Burning.
purple Christian flag with a white cross on it. People
Yeah.
would lose their minds. It's inappropriate.
Absolutely. And going back to the POW MIA flag, it doesn't fly above the American flag.
No,
at
it
all.
doesn't.
Nothing flies above the
Nothing
American
does.
flag.
And we don't fly it in lieu of the American flag.
Right. Right. I got mine right here.
Yeah, we do not fly it in lieu of the American flag.
That's true.
And your flags are in order there. The American flag, the state of Tennessee, and then the POW MIA flag from left to
That's
right
right.
when viewed. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, look, I mean, this it's so disgusting. I'm so sick of it. People have to remember the purpose of flags and guidons and banners that were a rallying point in battle. That's the purpose. That's why they existed. That was how commanders directed their troops in battle before we had radios and communications where we could do instant games. You had troops on your flanks, cavalry in particular, and you would identify them and you'd use flags. And look at the Navy. They use semaphores. That's how they use
Right.
flags to communicate. The flag is a communication. When you put a flag on an official government site, you are communicating a message that represents the republic. And the republic does not represent homosexuality or bisexuality. If you're homosexual or bisexual, that is your business, but it does not represent the country any more than a heterosexual flag would represent the country. Both would be wildly wrong. And the clowns who allow this, I'm going to tell you what, those clowns on the U.S. women's national soccer team will never see another penny from me. Once upon a time, I supported that team when Carly Lloyd played, and those players, they were amazing, but they had one little loudmouth, bleach blonde, fake American who would take a knee wearing our uniform that we paid for when the
Right.
anthem was being played. And would walk around with pride flags. To heck with that. I'm sick of those people. They are just political activists. They don't represent this country, and they mean this country. And raising the Somali national flag, but look at Minnesota. They changed their flag so that it starkly resembles the flag of a population of just 80,000 people in their state, the Somali national flag. You ever notice that when they changed it a couple years ago?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
You
So
know, the
re-
Daughters
represent-
of the American Revolution did the same thing here recently, right? They started letting transgender, what are they, men, women, whatever it is, but now they want to be all inclusive with these guys who think they're girls, and a lot of their longstanding members are now offended and
not
thinking
only
about
they're
pulling
offended,
out.
they've left, John.
Yeah.
The DAR
Yeah.
is suffering. They're suffering a crisis, much
That
like
was
the
a-
United Methodist Church,
Yeah.
which has had a schism in the past year. The DAR is about to destroy itself as an organization, much like the Scouts of America have done by diminishing. You notice there's no demand or legal requirement for the Brownies, the Girl Scouts, or the Campfire Girls to include boys. But we had to destroy the Boy Scouts by putting girls in the Scouts
Right.
and diminishing it. Now, look, this is anyway. The Daughters of the American Revolution have screwed the pooch because their leader just made a unilateral decision a couple years ago, and now they voted to support it after many of the people that opposed it had left the organization. So when people think, "Oh, this is inclusive," no, it's not. It's what's left of those people who are the delegates. That's who voted for this, and it's a disgrace. You are not the daughter of the American Revolution. None of us in this room can join the DAR. None of us. Now, I have an award from the DAR, a Good Citizen Award, because I was a top scorer in my county when we took the test back in high school, and I was proud of that. But nobody in this room can be a member of the DAR. We could join the
Right.
Sons of the American Revolution if we can prove a link, and I can. I don't know if you guys can, but I can. John might be able to. But the
Right.
bottom line is that this political garbage is garbage. It diminishes the value of these organizations. And frankly, I hope the Daughters of American Revolution goes bankrupt. I'm sorry. That's what they get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't like using the old tropes, but go woke, go broke, and as you should. I mean, you're going to do some nonsense like this to undermine what your organization was founded to do and what was founded, to represent. I mean, the daughters of the founders, daughters of people who fought for our freedom, if you will, 250 years ago. That's what it's about. The sons is exactly the same thing, but for male descendants. Come on now.
Yeah, and what I always love is that people who purport to be leftists and progressives, conservatives, they're science deniers. Science deniers? No, we're not science deniers.
I love science. Yeah,
I love science. Yeah, the science is settled. That's what the left says. There's no such thing. Science is never settled. If science were settled, Pluto would be the 9th planet, which in my mind it still is.
Yeah, I was watching a video yesterday. It says, "What does the sun look like from all the planets in our solar system?" And it started with Pluto. I'm like, yes, Pluto is a planet.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. If you see how big, if you do a representation how large the sun is from Mars and then from Earth, work your way up. When you look at conservatives, you're on Earth and you see a big sun. When you look at the sun as a demon rat or a political leftist, you're in Pluto, and the sun is like this big. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So we are, this weekend is, 4th of July weekend. Saturday is the 4th, 250. What are your all's plans before we get any further into the show? What are your plans this weekend, Colonel?
Well, imagine this. There's a rugby game, of course. South Africa's playing England, and England is a constituent part of Great Britain, the country whose backside we kicked and told to get out. The first country ever to eliminate the United Kingdom from governing over it, and we're no longer their colonies. So I'll be celebrating, hopefully, a South African victory over England, representing, in my mind, Great Britain. And then I'll probably go by the VFW. We're actually going to be open on Independence Day. I'm not going anywhere because it's going to be chaos. Also, with this heat and how dry it is, I'm hooking up the hose to the spigot outside, and I'll have a couple buckets and fire extinguishers ready in case idiots, with their fireworks start a fire in the neighborhood. People should pay attention to that. That's not a trivial thing to say. We may have a very real risk of there being some fires and grass fires and homes catching on fire because of people being careless on this 4th of July. It would be a tragedy on the nation's 250th birthday to be burned down your home. So I say that in all seriousness. So I will be staying home for the 4th of July. I don't know. Are there any FIFA World Cup games on? Maybe I'll watch that. I need something to help fall asleep. It's better than Ambien.
All right. John, what about you? 250?
I think I'm just going to stay home, enjoy the holidays, maybe fire up the grill if, heat providing. And if it's too hot out, I'll just stand there with a fan in one hand and the grill operate in the other hand. And I think it's going to be a home thing.
I can see it now. You'd have a big box fan in one hand,
I'll be standing there with an AC unit, man. It's going to be hot. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Anyway, I'm planning on at least doing one parade on the 3rd, and I think 2 on the 4th, depending on how hot it is. If we get burned up on the 4th on the first parade, we may forego it. But I think we're going to do at least 3 parades this weekend. We got a bunch of flags to give out and a bunch of popsicles. So.
Is this part of the American Legion, or is this just something you're doing?
Yeah, American. It's a little bit of both. It's personal / American Legion, so it'll be a little bit of both. The first parade on the 3rd will probably be more Republican related, and then the first one on the 4th will be Legion related.
Yeah, there are some events happening. I know there's one in Manchester. It's supposed to be a good event happening here soon. And I don't remember if it's on the 4th. I know I saw somebody was advertising band or something. He's going to be out here in Nashua on the 4th. I'm trying to think of the name of the band. Can't think of it. Yeah, Trey, my wife's over here in the comments section. We have a pool. Yeah, we have a pool. And I do have the pool open. It's in time this year for the 4th of July. So, and that's probably what I'll be doing because the AC is not working so good in the house. It's so hot. I'll just jump in the pool and cool off there.
Well, you could jump in with the AC, and I have an underwater.
No.
AC
I don't think that. I don't think the AC is waterproof, Todd.
No, okay, that won't work.
We want to keep all our fingers for the holiday, and we want to keep our lives intact.
Right.
And you said we have a pool. You mean a community pool or one at the house?
No, I got one at the house. It's good, 30,000.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a community pool, like the swimming pool in the local community. I mean, which we also call urinals. And the one you have at home is what I call an algae factories that cost you a fortune to keep clean.
Yeah, no, I got sparkling clean water, man. I'll tell you what, I did it right this year.
All right, cool beans. All right. That's, I
Yeah,
hate swimming
so
pools.
the Colonel's got his 250 shirt and hat on there. Yeah, you haven't been down to the mall for the big state fair, have you? Anybody?
I haven't, and I'm glad you raised that question. I was curious. I want to talk about that because the media is just, going off talking about how bad it is and how few people are coming. I think they're forgetting to mention that it's 187 freaking degrees, and who wants to, drive
Right.
all the way to DC to melt in the sun? So I think that's having a negative effect. And now they're claiming that Trump is upset because he gave a speech and nobody showed up. I don't know. I don't even know about the speech. The problem is that this stuff is being hidden and not advertised. I'll be honest, I didn't realize there was a Great American State Fair in DC. I thought that was some one-off event one day with a concert with all these performers who backed out because they're cowards. So I didn't even know this thing was happening until about 8 or 10 days ago.
Right. Yeah, I know a couple people who are now working in the administration, but they're taking some time off to work some of the booths there, just volunteering. And yeah, they're saying that it's just so hot and people aren't showing up, I guess.
I have friends that went down there. Mike and Denise Bouchain out of Hudson went down there. They got families all down there. In fact, they were doing a video with their kids in front of, I think, the Capitol building, and some Yahoo comes scooting through on one of them scooters yelling, "No kings!" And he's just throwing, "Trump's your president."
Trump's your daddy. Trump's your daddy.
That's
Hey,
right.
hey, guys. How bumhurt are the leftists? They are spending so much time. First off, they spent years going, Trump's a liar. He's not worth $10 billion. He doesn't have that much money. They kept trying to prove he didn't have any money. He wasn't worth anything. Now they're crying because he made $2.2 billion last year.
Yeah, right.
Trump made all this money. No president has ever made that kind of money. Yeah, well, maybe most presidents didn't have the common sense that Trump has in business. Just saying.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Trump, I think he invested into Palantir, but he did that after they were selected. He didn't go invest into them heavy before they were selected to do a job. It was after they were selected. Then he put money into stuff. It's not like he's coercing the picks and stuff like that for his pocketbook, as the left might like to claim.
The argument they want to make here, first off, a lot of that money was masked through his cryptocurrency company and also through his meme coin. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, all these people lost money. Well, it is a meme coin. Did you honestly think it was going to grow in value? I mean, if you're dumb enough to buy something that has no intrinsic value, that's on you. Now, it may come back at some point and be worth an awful lot. And then all these people that have complained about this in the leftist media will look stupid as people make money. It's kind of like they tried to attack the SpaceX IPO. But when you generate and create 4,400 millionaires overnight for people who work for a company, and that was the reward because they stayed loyal to the company and invested in, it's kind of hard to say that it's just a rich man's game because most of those 4,400 millionaires weren't millionaires before this happened.
Right. No, these were people that, went into, technology, went into science and paid attention in school and wanted to make something of themselves. They just wanted to have a good, steady career. And the next thing you know, they got in with the right people on the ground level and made a buck whenever he went public. You won. Good job, for crying out loud. I mean, that's the dream. But the fact is, Elon Musk created something so these people could have a job, could have a career. Whether they were ever going to be millionaires or not is besides the point. Being able to have a decent job and being able to have, something, whether it's, nice car, nice house, whatever, and limited debt, and be able to relax at the end of the day. That's kind of the American dream, I think. Be able to raise your kids, a family in a safe environment. That's the American dream. If you become a millionaire or a billionaire along the way, good on you. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, well, people who just hate those who are successful are just, communists.
As long as you got, as long as you didn't Madoff somebody, I'm fine with it. You're good.
Yeah, exactly. No, they're just going on about how much money Trump made, and I'm like, yeah, I'm impressed. And what's the problem here? It's all legal. It's all moral.
Why aren't we learning how to do that as well? You'd like to maybe take a little bit of that.
You can. They got disclosure statements. I mean, members of Congress make disclosure statements all the time, right? I mean, you can follow where they're investing and get ideas and invest off where they're investing. You can watch the president where he's investing. Everybody knew where he was investing, looking at where he was investing. You can do the same thing. I'm just thinking, my $20 isn't going to go as far as Trump's millions of dollars. There's a big difference in return.
Right.
Well, here's one that's interesting for you, and this should surprise a lot of folks. I mean, I think they know this, but President Trump, of course, has 2 pensions with Screen Actors Guild, and those pensions, based on his appearances in Home Alone 2, and also The Apprentice, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and other things he's done, generated him $86,532 in pension last year from the Screen Actors Guild. I love it. Trump makes money wherever he goes, man.
Yeah, so 86,000 something. I mean, that's enough to live off of in most places in the country. I mean, that's a good salary, an annual salary. Wow.
And then, of course, Trump made a buttload of money off of the lawsuits against these media firms who lied about him and disparaged him. He made $24.5 million off of, I think, the CBS, and then I think got Facebook and Instagram as well. It's the same company, Meta. Paramount and CBS News and ABC each paid him $16 million apiece. So, Trump made money everywhere. He also got $22 million from YouTube. Because they suspended his account. I didn't get a penny for them suspending my account. Maybe that's why they gave my account back, because they were worried about a lawsuit from me because Trump got him.
Yeah, I mean, 22 million. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, so I'll create an account and you can spend it for a while. Give me some money. But yeah, 22 million. I mean, the fact that they had to pay him lets us know that he was right whenever he talks about they were violating his rights, for crying out loud, or they were trying to shut him down. I mean, and here's the thing. It wasn't just YouTube behind it or Twitter or anything like that. There was a government entity. There was some Democrat somewhere in the DOJ or FBI saying, hey, let's shut down his account. And we know that. We know that's true now.
Yep, absolutely. That is the case.
So Newsmax was reporting Tennessee Congressman Representative Andy Ogles wants to end birthright tourism. Representative Andy Ogles, Republican Tennessee, told Newsmax Wednesday that Congress must pass legislation ending birth tourism following the Supreme Court's ruling on the birthright citizenship clause of the 14th Amendment. I think that makes good sense. I mean, if the Supreme Court's not going to do it, I mean, you're going to have to pass some legislation to be able to shut it down. Because we can't keep taking everybody and their mother over here. I mean, you speak of the devil, everybody and their mom, for crying out, coming here just to have a kid so that way they can have some reason to stay here as well. The next thing you know, their entire family comes over here, grandmother, grandfather, cousins, and so on, just because you had the one baby in this country. Because you were here for a few hours or a few days.
I don't think that people just easily get in here like that. They still got to go through vetting processes and stuff, don't they? I mean, just because they have a baby in the country doesn't mean that they have a right to become citizens themselves.
Well, the kid itself
It doesn't give them right to be citizens. It grants them the ability to stay here indefinitely. That's the problem. So birthright citizenship is a betrayal by the corrupt Supreme Court. And for anyone who wants to argue this and say the Supreme Court is always right, I refer you to the 1896 decision Plessy versus Ferguson, which upheld the principle of separate but equal accommodation, ensuring that blacks were forced to ride at the back of the bus or have less equal accommodations as white citizens did. Supreme Court was racist in 1896, and the Supreme Court is racist against majority Americans in 2026. It's as simple as that. This is an idiotic decision. This is a concept built on stupidity. The precedents mentioned in the decisions written by Kavanaugh and by the majority are factually wrong. There's no way that this thing actually holds scrutiny in any reasonable place. These people have betrayed this nation. They've absolutely betrayed America. The architects of the 14th Amendment were clear in the intent. You read the documents, the letters, the testimony given in the Senate and in the House about why the 14th Amendment was passed. It was for former slaves, for the freed slaves. It was not for people here who are not under the jurisdiction. A criminal alien invader who crosses our border and enters this country illegally is not subject to the jurisdiction of this country. They are a foreign national. They owe fealty to a foreign power. You cannot be benefiting from illegally entering this country and depositing a child on our soil who has no allegiance to this country. I've covered this story many, many times, including the case of Nigerians who fly to America on pregnancy tourism. So they can come here at 6 months, drop their baby, the child gets a passport, they go home to Nigeria, they get in trouble, they run to the consulate, and suddenly we are involved in the internal affairs of Nigeria for a person who's not a U.S. citizen, but because of our idiotic interpretation of the 14th Amendment by leftist progressive betrayers of this country, including John Roberts and Brett Kavanaugh, who've betrayed this country, we are now stuck with this. It is time for a constitutional amendment to clarify the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. Just like we rescinded prohibition, we need to rescind the 14th Amendment. It simply has no role in our Constitution any longer. It served its purpose. The slaves became citizens in 1868. Case closed. Time to move on. It is time to start exposing these frauds who sit on the bench of the Supreme Court. There you go.
There you go. Very good. John?
Yeah, no, I got nothing to argue against on that. I understand what the 14th Amendment says, and the problem is it doesn't establish what Chris is saying itself. I understand its purpose, and it's established what its purpose is. So it's created a lot of confusion or conflict, but the biggest thing is what Crystal alluded to earlier is people want to confuse things because they want what they want. And when they want to be able to allow people to come to the country illegally, they try to find avenues, ways to bend laws and rules. And I think that's what Chris is driving at is they're manipulating things where they shouldn't be allowed to manipulate.
John, that would be like saying, okay. Todd and I robbed a bank. We got $6 million. The government lets our children keep the money. We go to jail. No, you don't get the profit from my criminal act.
Right.
That's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. No, I wasn't arguing against you.
I'm just trying to clarify.
I was just saying
for the audience.
the way it was worded and stuff is kind of left a lot to be interpreted, and those who want to legislate from the bench or, it's just not a whole lot of clarity there, I guess, the way they worded it as far as its original intent. Although I see what your point is on its original intent.
Yeah. No, I mean, it has outlived its usefulness. This is actually a constitutional amendment that was self-limiting in time. That was the purpose of it. And it has not been interpreted as such, which has been falsely interpreted. So, maybe we need an Article 5 convention just to change that. Maybe it's time for the Article 5 convention.
Right. Well, Trump took an inaugural flight on the new VC-25B Bravo bridge aircraft with the new Air Force One livery to Madura to take part in the Roosevelt Museum reopening or rededication. Have you guys? I'm sure you've seen the new aircraft. What do you think of the new livery there, Colonel? Beautiful, or I don't know? Does it look too much like a commercial aircraft? What are your thoughts on this new livery?
I think it's beautiful. A lot better than that candy ass, sorry looking pale powder blue that we put on Air Force One. This looks like a real manly aircraft. No, it's a lot of people freaking out. Why are we spending money on this aircraft? Well, let's be clear. Congress approved funding to purchase 2 new Air Force One jets, but they won't be available till like 2029. I think it is when they'll be completed. And so the aircraft they're flying now are over 35 years old. And they're becoming increasingly unreliable. Although people are going to say, wait a second, you're flying B-52s from 1961. True. But the president's not bombing Iran. I bet he would like to. I bet he'd love to fly over Iran with drop some bombs. And Trump be like, bombs away. I can see Trump now in the bomb bay door painting hello Tehran right there on the bombs.
He's standing there with his finger over the button. You can push the button now, Mr. President. Oh, thank God.
I can just picture that. If I had an AI account, I'd make a video of that right now. Bombs away. That's what I call it. I make an AI song, bombs away.
Yes.
Yeah. Or one of those little baby Trump videos that the guy that channel's got. That once they're making baby Trump videos, we'll do that. Yeah. Melania, what are you doing? What are you doing, Donald? I'm just sending these special gifts to Tehran.
Right.
Anyway, it's look, the aircraft won't be available, and the ones they're flying now are becoming problematic. Not to mention they were designed in a pre-internet age, and all the wiring that's necessary to get these aircraft, plus the countermeasures they have. We need the ones built into the airframe, not added on and glued on like Lego pieces.
Right. That's the point right there is the countermeasures, all the protection, the security, and things like that they need. They definitely need to upgrade.
Yeah, and the aircraft we have now, it's like, plugging more Lego things on the aircraft instead of purpose-built for that. So Boeing is building 2 brand new aircraft, but they won't be available, I think, until 2029. So we needed a stopgap, and that's what this is. And people don't like it too bad. This will be the only president that flies it unless Boeing fails to deliver. It'll be the only president that flies in, and it'll be retired once he's done. And did it cost a lot of money? Yeah, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than the billions it costs to buy the new aircraft.
From my understanding, this particular plane is on loan, isn't it? It's not.
No, it was a gift. It belongs to the U.S. government.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's Air Force property now.
It took months of U.S. intelligence community tactical analysts to go through the aircraft from head to toe to ensure there was nothing in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. They gutted it pretty well. And of course, the new aircraft, obviously, those are being purpose built from the ground up. Unlike the current one, which was gutted. I mean, these are going to be beautiful aircraft. I mean, they're going to be very capable. I mean, like the Colonel said, the two VC-25 Alphas that are there now, which are 747-200, they're aged aircraft, and you can't keep gluing things onto it and expect it to work perfectly like you want it to. You got to build something new every now and then. So that's
It's the
what
MacGyver plane, man. It's the MacGyver plane.
The
It'll
problem,
make
is
it.
that, the problem is that Congress failed. They should have approved these jets 10 years prior.
right.
Then they would already be delivered.
Congress fails every day, bro.
Well, okay, you're right about that.
So they no, it's it was pretty cool there with the display of the Rough Riders leading them in there.
Right. I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I saw
pretty
that
great.
video. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. He spoke right in front of the Rough Rider Hotel right there. It's kind of cool. So midterms coming up. What are your thoughts? I mean, is the Republicans going to keep the House, the Senate? What are we looking at now? I mean, it's been since last week we've had a lot more crazy stuff go on the left and the right, New York elections, etc. What are your thoughts? Republicans going to maintain, or what are we looking at? Disaster?
Well, I've said all along that if the conflict in Iran is completed by the 4th of July, the Republicans will be fine. If it goes past 4th of July, they're in trouble. I think the Republicans are in trouble.
Yeah, I do too. John?
Well, we said this before on this show, is we're going to see the left try to align more to the center or to the right, and because they want to win. And
Right.
in New Hampshire, I don't know about your state, but New Hampshire, about 40% of our voters are undecided. They're not Republicans or Democrats. So Maggie Goodlander joined about 13 different Democrats to declare themselves as centrist. Can you imagine Maggie Goodlander, a centrist? She never voted as a centrist, but all of a sudden now she is a centrist candidate. So this is what we're starting to see. They're starting to play these little games of trying to pull people in as if they're a little more conservative than they let on in the past. And so they're going to play, these things are going to happen, and people should make themselves aware of it. This is just hoodwinking people so that they can get back into their seats and go back to their agenda again and screw the country
Right.
over. And so I just hope people are aware of that. They'll always play the fear porn games with the whole the right's going to take away your Social Security, even though Social Security is already proven to be defunct here in the near future if they don't do something to fix it. And they won't do anything until they get in power, right? So you got to get them in power. So there's going to be a lot of games going to be played here that people need to be aware of. As far as how do I think it's going to swing in these midterm elections, it's really hard to say, Todd, because people still seem to be strong with Trump, even though this war, it's going on past July 4th. It's I think a lot of people are still standing strong with Trump. A lot of people are still supporting Trump. We're seeing a lot of Trump-endorsed candidates winning their primaries. So it's going to be an interesting race for sure. And hopefully we can keep the House and the Senate. It's kind of important at this point in time, because if we don't, as you guys know, and for the sake of listenership, if we don't keep the House and the Senate to the right, we're going to have nothing but obstruction, impeachment,
Right.
and Bullstein for 2 years. It's going to be ugliness. This country is just going to sit there and rot for 2 years, and nothing's going to get done.
Yeah, correct. What are your thoughts, Colonel?
Well, it's. I thought for sure that the Republicans would have no trouble holding the Senate, and that they could probably hold the House, and even after all this redistricting, actually gain in the House, which was, contrary to a lot of people. I still think they can hold the House and possibly even gain, but I'm concerned about the Senate now. The races are too close. The Rhino Susan Collins is trailing the Nazi in Maine. I mean, that's a shocker. How is that even possible? What is wrong with people in Maine? Just move to Canada if that's how you feel. We're not going to put a misogynist freaking Nazi in office, are we? It's unbelievable. We already got Uncle Fester serving for Pennsylvania. How much more do we need to suffer? Come on. No, I'm concerned about the Senate now, which shouldn't even be a concern. This should be an easy year for Republicans to retain the Senate, but I have concerns. And of course, if one body of the legislature is taken over by the demon rats, the moment that happens, we'll spend all our time with fake conspiracies, fake Russia collusion hoaxes, fake this, fake, insurrections and all this other stuff. And the country will be distracted. And that's one reason why we're in the mess we're in now. Instead of governing, we've been playing games for the last 8 years. Ever since Trump came down the escalator, these clowns who once loved and adored Trump in Hollywood and the media have turned on him, and all the politicians who always looked for Trump and begged him for money to build things in their district and in their towns and their states have all become treasonous SOBs. And, it's not going to change. If the demon rats take over one body of the legislature, it's going to get worse. And so I would much rather the president be able to govern with the legislature instead of against it. And if they take over both bodies, we will see more vetoes than you've seen in history because they will produce such idiotic legislation that must be vetoed because it's unconstitutional. So wait and see.
And then they'll say that the president's being the obstructionist, right? That'll be the motto, right?
100%. You're exactly right. That's what they'll say. But of course, we know the truth, and even though the media lie about it.
Right. Well,
it's nice to have a president with some backbone. I'll tell you what. If we can get some members of Congress with backbone, man, this country would be right back on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got a few minutes before the top of the hour break. Real quick, we haven't had an assessment this week. Iran, where's this thing headed? What are your thoughts? I mean, based on, I know you can make a blind assessment here, but based off of the information we're getting from our negotiators, what are you thinking?
I think we're negotiating from a position of weakness at this point. It's time to just, release the Kraken. It's time to release the Kraken. This is utter nonsense. They've broken the ceasefire repeatedly. They keep talking about charging transit fees through international waters. I don't think so. And now Oman is talking about splitting the fees with them. No, Oman's supposedly an ally of ours. This is betrayal of the country, of the world, of the entire world. No one's going to pay these transit fees. This is ridiculous. It's just an outright heist and theft. And we're going to give them money? Forget that. Reconstruction, they can rebuild themselves. They've got all the oil they need to rebuild themselves. This government must go. And I think that we are pussyfooting around playing games here with dangerous people who murdered 30 or 40,000 of their own citizens recently who were peaceful protesters. So, I mean, they have proxies in Lebanon who are causing carnage there for decades, proxies in Israel, proxies in Yemen, and they have caused the death of more American service members and dismemberment than any terrorist group on the planet through their proxies. And I think that it is time to stop playing a game. Get this done with. You started, Trump, let's finish it. You know what? And, I want to see the 460 kgs or 435 kgs of enriched uranium in our possession so it can be neutered. They need to be neutered. Spayed and neutered. It's time to spay and neuter the terrorist regime in Tehran. And that's my take on it. Again, I would have conducted this campaign completely different. I don't understand who at CENTCOM is responsible for this war plan. As I said from the outset, I would have sent in Delta and SEAL teams onto Karg Island, captured the island, and flown in Ranger Battalion or landed a MU, Marine Expeditionary Unit there, occupy the island. As that was occurring, then launch all the attacks on all the air defense, jam all the radar sites, take out the air defense launchers and their missile sites, and then I would have concentrated on other things. But that's not what we did. We still haven't captured Karg Island. And so they continue to ship oil to China and the world throughout the campaign until we finally impose a blockade. But by then, it was too late. It's ridiculous. We sank the Iranian Navy. There's nothing left. How are they interdicting with drones? Because we neglected that. So, it's time to, release the Kraken. Let's get to it.
All right. Yeah. So, John, what are your thoughts at this point?
No, I'm with Chris 100%. I've said it from the beginning. We need to eliminate this regime. It's time for Iran to have some sort of democracy or some sort of freedoms again, or something other than what they've got. I'm sure there can be something better in Iran with all the different factions and stuff there. I don't know exactly how it would turn out in Iran at this particular moment. Right. If they did have the opportunity to develop something. There was a lot of support for the return of the Shah. And he claimed himself that he's ready to take it back over. He's ready to run Iran again. As far as I know, he's got
son or grand. Is it it's his son, right? Or
son,
something,
I
right?
think. Yeah, I think it's his son. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Iran could do. Look, Trump isn't doing this just for Trump, and Trump isn't doing this just for the United States of America. If the world got their head out of their hindquarters, they might understand that what Trump is doing is a benefit of the world. Iran has been a nuisance in the Mideast. They've been nothing but a pot stirrer in the Mideast. They've created a lot of problems in the Mideast. And if we got rid of this regime, then there wouldn't be any support for all these terrorist activities going on in the Mideast. We might actually start seeing it. If you notice, a lot of these Mideastern companies or countries have aligned with Trump. He went forth and created alliances with Saudi Arabia, with Qatar, and all the UAE and all these Mideastern countries before he went to Iran. So he had this established pretty well for support in the Mideast. So it's just a matter of, hey, pull that lever, get this job done, and be done with it. Let's go. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Sounds about right. I know there's one other question I have, and it's basically who's going to be the Republican nominee based on what we're seeing, what we're hearing. and I know we're so far out, we're so far in the weeds at this point, but based on what we're seeing, who we're seeing, on a regular, keeping their stuff together, if you will, who do you think the Republican nominee is going to be, or do you think it's just going to be a crowded field?
Well, it is going to be a crowded field, and it is pretty far out. But I think a dark horse can emerge in this. And I'm already making crypto bets. My expectation Republican nominee for the next time around for president is this guy Chris Wyatt.
He's a viceroy somewhere, right?
Viceroy of Greenland. Yeah, no, it's going to be Marco Rubio.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Marco is basically the pole position at this point. Yeah, JD's probably
it's his to lose.
Yeah, and I think JD will stick his toes into it, but I think maybe around New Hampshire he'll step out of it by that point.
Let's put it this way, Todd. I've never been impressed by JD Vance. I think he's bogus. He's a made-for-television candidate, complete to marrying an Indian. Look how diverse I am. His couple years in uniform. His book, which is an insult to Appalachian residents, is still burns my shorts to this day. It's very insulting, condescending from a person who's not from Appalachia. As a person actually from Appalachia, I call him out as a fraud. He is a made-for-television person who reads teleprompters. He's smart. Don't get me wrong. He's eloquent. He's intelligent, but he doesn't have the fire in the belly the way that Marco Rubio does. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, let's go back. When Trump was scorning Rubio, calling him Little Marco, I was never once impressed by Marco Rubio as a U.S. senator. I'll be upfront about that. Never impressed. I thought he is one of those people like Michelle Bachmann who stole the the Tea Party movement and just rode the coattails of that and just lived comfortably like a fat cat in the Senate. Now that may be unfair to Marco Rubio, but that's my impression of him in the Senate. I will say though that he's been the most impressive foreign secretary since George Shultz, hands down. Hands down, this guy has been brilliant as our foreign minister, essentially, and he says the right things at the right place, the right time, without teleprompters, and has, other than a couple times being caught, but Vance gets caught all the time. His appearance on The View was a disaster. It was embarrassing. He couldn't even defend the president's refugee program that office is responsible for. So, with the exception of one or two times that Rubio has been caught, Vance has been caught several times without knowing what to say and just doing like a typical politician, platitudes and distraction, this topic. Whereas Rubio always answers the question directly, except for one or two times. So I've been very impressed by Marco Rubio, and I think he has the chops to be president. He would not have been my guess. I mean, but I'm saying he's a front runner, and it's his to lose.
Interesting. Yeah, John.
Yeah, no, I agree. Marco Rubio's been the standout member of the Trump administration. He is working his butt off. He really shines. I wouldn't write Vance off necessarily. I think he does have some talent. He doesn't have the experience. That's where he's lacking. He's got a lot of great connections in the party, but he doesn't have the experience like Rubio has. He doesn't have the experience like a lot of them have, and that's where he may fall short.
Well, Mike Pence has a lot of connections to the party. Where's he at?
Yeah. Well, he kind of blew that too, didn't he?
At the Chicago airport, right?
That's correct. And I got my coin right here to prove it.
There you go. All right. We got a couple seconds here. What are we looking at there, John? A couple seconds?
About 20 seconds.
All right. About 20 seconds. When we get back, we'll be talking probably a little bit more Iran, a little bit more election. Of course, we still got primaries in some states. Here in Tennessee, we still got primaries coming up in August. So, nominees could still change between now and November. So a lot of politics between now and November, and of course January, whenever we'll have a new Congress for sure. But we'll be right back after the top of the hour. Stick around, enjoy the comments.
Broadcasting from 200 Main Street in the beautiful and historic Masonic Building. This is WSMN 1590 AM and WSMN 95.3 FM Nashua. Streaming live at wsmn.live.
USA Radio News, I'm Anthony Lucero. U.S. officials are in Qatar for Iran peace talks, but are not expected to meet directly with Iranian representatives. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner are meeting with Qatari and Pakistani mediators. The man and woman who climbed to the top of the Empire State Building to get engaged are now facing charges.
The NYPD says 33-year-old Angela Nicolaou and 32-year-old Ivan Kuznetsov are being charged with reckless endangerment, burglary, criminal trespass, among other charges. The couple, known for climbing skyscrapers, had dressed in black and wore masks when they got through a fenced-in area before they began their climb. One visitor happened to see them enter the area.
There's like a cage door, and they went up there, but I didn't say anything because I thought they worked there.
The couple got to the top of the landmark spire where he popped the question and gave her a ring. They hugged and kissed, filmed the whole adventure, and then made their way down where the police were waiting for them. In New York, I'm Lisa Salvati.
Federal Reserve Chairman Kevin Warsh says inflation risks have declined over the last few weeks.
This is due to energy prices dropping following the U.S. and Iran signing a memorandum of understanding to end the ongoing war last month. According to Walsh, the central bank still has more work to do, but it'll stay independent regardless of what President Trump wants. He made the comments while speaking at a gathering of central bankers in Sintra, Portugal. The Fed chairman also added the reserve is monitoring the AI industry and predicts that it'll create jobs due to a boom in capital expenditures. I'm at Mattinson.
Vancouver police have arrested a 20-year-old man who's an active member of military for having sex with juvenile girls in his hotel room.
Police say Andrew Guerrero was working in Portland and staying in a hotel in Vancouver. A month before arriving, he met the victims on social media. He gave them alcohol and exploited the 13 and 16-year-old girls for sex. He recorded the incidents on social media. Guerrero is charged with 6 counts of rape of a child and trafficking. I'm Brad Ford.
From America's News Network, USA Radio News.
Maybe this is you too. There's enormous frustration right now with healthcare costs. It is amazing. Healthcare costs for families in the last 20 years have almost tripled. And it just keeps getting worse. All this to say, this is why MediShare is so in demand right now. People are looking for alternatives. And MediShare is proven. You can save thousands of dollars a year and actually like it more. Over 1 million Americans are now part of healthcare sharing, and MediShare is the gold standard. It's trusted. It works. It's been helping people save money and have peace of mind now for 30 plus years. It's not some big impersonal thing either. It's a community of people like you helping each other. So yeah, if you're frustrated too, here's your chance to make a refreshing change. You'll notice the difference as soon as you call. They're easy to talk to. You can get a price within 2 minutes. Here is the number. Call 855-SHARE-40. That's 855-SHARE-40. 855-SHARE-40.
Tired of wondering where your money really goes? At Mammoth Nation, we built what was missing. The America First Marketplace. Every brand we feature is 100% American owned and operated, rigorously vetted for their values and committed to supporting our Constitution, law enforcement, and the American dream. When you shop with us, your dollar stays in the neighborhood, supporting families, veterans, and charities like Folds of Honor. No more sending your hard-earned money overseas to the companies that don't respect you here. Your dollar reflects your values. Your dollar, your values. Your America. Join Mammoth Nation today and be part of building a patriot economy by going to TruckersUnitedForFreedom.com affiliate page and hit that link. American built, America strong. Mammoth Nation.
Hi Nashua, I'm Perry Cataldo from Choice Benefit Services, your local insurance agent that has dedicated himself to all the Medicare plans in New Hampshire. Whether you're just turning 65, new to Medicare, or already have a plan, I'll explain all your Medicare options at cbsnh.com. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, health is wealth.
Continuing the legacy started in 1904, Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument Incorporated continues to provide the same high-quality monument, custom headstone, and stoneworking craftsmanship today that they built their reputation on over 100 years ago, servicing Nashua, New Hampshire, as well as nearby areas in Massachusetts, such as Lowell, Billerica, Chelmsford, and beyond. From creating custom monuments to memorialize, to landscaping and granite work or restorative services, each job is done to your satisfaction and is backed by decades of experience and integrity. If you're thinking about stonework, think Roger Pellerin of Gate City Monument. Visit online at gatecitymonument.com. Stop by and meet Roger at 321 West Hollis Street in Nashua, or call 603-883-7141. That's 603-883-7141. 7141. Gates City Monument, memorials of distinction for people who care.
All right. Hey, folks, welcome back to the Common Sense Conservatives right here on WSMN 1590 AM and 95.3 FM. I'm Todd McKinley in Northeast Tennessee, joined by my co-host John Grosvenor in the studio, and, of course, Colonel Chris Wyatt holding down his studio in Central PA. Gentlemen, so we already talked about what we're going to be doing this weekend on the 4th, hopefully trying to stay alive in most cases. America's 250th birthday. Do we have 250 more years left the way it's going? What are your thoughts? I mean, how do we ensure longevity based on our politics the way it is? I don't think we have 250 more years, but what are your all's thoughts?
Well, I don't know if we even have 20 years at the pace we're going, with people electing people like Zoran the Moran Mamdani in New York, and then him backing a bunch of demon rat socialists in America. I mean, I don't know if anybody's watched their party convention from 2016 or 2020, when they're like, point of order. Please stop clapping. Some of us are sensory sensitive and it hurts our ears. Point of order. Hi, Magiscus Rallicutti, Zem Zers. I think that, what are we voting on? Did you ever see the video of these idiots? Yeah. And these are their candidates being elected. Yeah. I mean, I think here's the deal. Pick the ugliest, brownest person you can find, rail against white people, and we'll get them elected. That's what they do. There are plenty of brilliant, beautiful, wonderful people of color mixed from all over the world who can do the job perfectly fine. But the Democratic Socialists go out and look for the ugliest, dumbest people they can find. And of course, to be fair, Todd, we all do want to date them. I mean, I'm still kind of hung up on AOC,
Yeah, the cuckoo crazy that she is. What's funny is I saw the picture yesterday. It was AOC, it was Bernie Sanders, and it was Mamdani. It was it said a Christian, a Jew, and a Muslim, and it's like, that's the start of a joke. Ha ha ha. And I'm like, well, which one of you is a Christian? I don't know which one's a Christian here.
None of them are Christians.
Certainly not Mamdani or let me be clear. Oh, Bernie, it's not Bernie. And AOC, I don't think she has a Christian bone in her body. Maybe I could be wrong. I don't know.
Bernie's a communist. He went to the Soviet Union during the Cold War to celebrate his honeymoon. Look, I mean, the only thing those three have in common is they hate America. That's the only thing they have in common.
Right. And what's funny is once they would have their way politically with their leftist ideology, they'd start killing each other anyway. I mean, they're going to be at each other's throats eventually.
Well, it's funny because, radical Islamists have long had a history of aligning themselves with evil movements, leftist movements. For instance, the falsely attributed National Socialist German Workers' Party, Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, the Nazis are often called a right wing, but they're not right wing.
No.
They're National Socialists. They're left wing. It's just that they killed the other left wingers in the communists. The National Socialists allied themselves with fascist Islamists in the Middle East against Jews and Christians. No, this is a long history, and that's what's going on now. The communists and socialists are allying themselves with radical Islamists, and they think that they'll take out everyone else, and then they'll take the other one out. And that's this evil alliance failed in the Second World War, and it will fail again. But the scary thing is that they keep winning. Colorado, a 15-term demon rat member of Congress, was booted out by 10 points in a primary by a Democratic Socialist. It is time for people to wake up. Our country will be lost not through invasion. Well, not traditional invasion. We are being invaded. We have been invaded for 50 years. But our country will be lost through the ballot box and will be subjected to communism and socialism. They're already trying to confiscate money from billionaires. What's next? Millionaires? There's 23.6 million millionaires in America. Right. Are they the next to pay the price? Because you bought a house for $100,000 30 years ago, and now you're 75 years old, and they tell you it's worth $1 million. Now you have to pay $100,000 in taxes. You don't have the money for it, so you have to sell it and live in a garden shack with a gnome. I mean, these people are out of control. 23.6 million Americans are millionaires on paper. 23.6 million. That's larger than the population of half the countries in the world.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Absolutely. But, think about this. They want to confiscate wealth. You take every penny that Elon Musk is worth, if you will, that's on paper, everything is worth. You're only funding the federal government and state governments for like 37 days or something like that. You think it's going to last forever. No, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, you're only funding state and federal governments for about 37 days, a little bit more than a month, all total.
Well, if it's just the federal government, to go a little bit further, because the federal government's spending about $9 trillion a year, so it'd last about 1/9 of that. But yeah, your point is it's not very long. And this is, and of course, this comes from idiots like Pocahontas Elizabeth Warren, a socialist, corrupt, thieving SOB who burdened us with the this agency that has unlimited power to and unconstrained control of our finances, which people don't even know the Consumer Protection Agency is. The worst thing ever invented, worse than the Federal Reserve. At least the Federal Reserve tries to make this country better. These people simply spy on us without unreasonable search and seizure, the violation of the Fourth Amendment on a daily basis. So she's behind that. She lied about everything she ever did in life to get jobs, pretending she was a minority, lying about it. She has no shame in it whatsoever. She's a fraud. She's a liar. And she's made tens of millions of dollars. And she rails against Elon Musk saying, it's time these wealthy people pay their fair share. When Elon Musk sold $42 billion worth of Tesla stock a couple years ago before he bought X as part of a consortium, which people don't realize he was only one of the investors. He paid $13 billion in personal income tax in 1 year, more than anyone had paid in the entire history of this republic. One year, he paid $13 billion. And she begrudges that man's wealth. That's because, like most socialists, she's a loser. A loser. Yeah, Bernie and his 2 pairs of underwear, another loser, but 4 houses.
Yeah, 4 houses, vacationing in the Soviet Union for his honeymooning there. Governor Tim Walz, Walz, this is according to Fox News, Minnesota Board of Pardons clears convicted illegal alien child sex offender facing deportation. Minnesota officials, including Democrat Governor Tim Walz last month, pardoned an illegal immigrant who was previously convicted of sexually assaulting a 10-year-old girl and who was slated to be deported. I mean, come on, you're giving clemency to somebody who's raped an underage person. Never mind, somebody in their 17, 18, a 10-year-old, 9-year-old. I mean, sick stuff here. I mean, raping anybody for crying out loud, but somebody at that age, and you're going to think that you're going to release them back out into society, and somehow they're going to be good members, contributing to everyday civic life. I don't think so.
Well, never mind that. This drunkard, stolen valor clown, who falsely claimed he couldn't hear properly. Remember that when he got arrested by an Iowa state trooper for being intoxicated, and he wasn't even given a freaking blood and alcohol test apparently. But yeah, this stolen valor clown. I gotta be careful. FCC might not like the language I'm going to use, but this Tu Lu Vang that you're talking about expressed regret for abusing a 10-year-old 2 decades ago. Regret for what? Destroying the life of a 10-year-old? You're a pervert. You belong in prison or out of the country. I cannot believe these people do this. He's from Laos. He should be go to Laos. So, you know what? He can pardon him, but they can still deport him. So I hope ICE sends him home.
As do I. Yeah, deport him home, and whatever they do to him there, I don't care. Move on.
This wasn't a one-time thing either. His victim was 10 when the abuse began.
Right.
And he continued to abuse this 10-year-old girl, repeatedly sexually assaulting her. He lost his legal status then. I can't believe it. Just shows you the truth. I mean, can you imagine if Kamala Harris and this retard were in the White House right now? Oh, dear goodness gracious. John, I can't even stomach the thought of it.
We dodged that bullet by a couple million votes.
Man,
providing, it might have been more than a couple million, but the left always has to get their planted ballots in there, if you will.
Why is it that these demon rats love to forgive pedos and rapists and murderers? Oh, no. Their victims still suffer. Their victims, if they've been murdered, don't exist anymore. They're harmed for life. They have a life sentence of the crime perpetrated on by these scumbags, and they should be allowed to live in this country, to walk the streets? No. Send him back to Laos, where his community will probably cane him to death.
I don't know what they'll do in Laos, but he don't belong here. That's for sure.
Damn Skippy.
So, yeah, you're talking about the same party, democracy is so important, and people have a right to protest. And then they kill 30,000, 40,000 people in Iran, and crickets. They're dead silent. Suddenly they're not for what Trump's doing. But at the same time, they're not speaking out against the atrocities that are happening in Iran against their own people. And funny enough, the same thing with the United Nations. All these violations that this regime causes in Iran never gets called out by the UN. But Israel does one thing, and they're being called out even though they did it legally.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, the leftists, the Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International, where are they when 15-year-old girls who've been raped are stoned to death for committing a crime. They're victims.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure.
They're sick. These people are sick. I don't know how anybody in the right mind votes for these idiots, but you see them all over the country. You run into these Karens everywhere. They're the lunatics that ran around. Where's your mask? Where's your mask? Where's your mask? Where's their mask at now? You're so hooked on mask. Where's your mask at now, sweetheart? Yeah. See, the problem is that I've gotten a little too old to tolerate fools like this, so it doesn't float with me.
And these idiots, they would see somebody walking without a mask. They would run up to them, get right in their face, and yell at them, "Where's your mask? You're not socially distancing." It's like, I'm walking here. You ran up to me, got in my face, stopped me from being able to progress wherever I'm going, and started yelling, mask, social distance. I'm like, you're the one pushing me, bumping me, for crying out loud. How am I the bad guy? You're the one who's wrong here.
Well, that's like arresting the guy for surfing in California. He was all alone in the ocean, guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the cops are there when he comes in on the beach and say, well, we got to arrest you now. You wouldn't be making contact with him if you just left him alone. He would have went home peacefully, never bothered anybody, never made contact with anybody. He would have been fine. But no, you had to arrest him.
No, these idiots that know nothing about science or epidemiology, social distancing. But I'm sorry, 2 feet behind you in the line at Arby's, you do realize that the droplets from your cake hole spewing your nonsense talking to me travel 20 feet unassisted. That's how powerful your lungs and your voice is. And that doesn't even include the spittle that you're spraying all over me. So back off, Karen.
Yeah, right. 100% for sure. So progressives bid against Schumer. Senator Chuck Schumer, Democrat from New York, is facing renewed pressure from progressives with fresh calls for Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, or AOC, also a Democrat from New York, to challenge the Senate Democratic leader after Democratic Socialists scored key victories in last week's primaries, according to The Hill. And this is being reported by Newsmax here. Do you think she's going to go after him this go around? I think she's probably to that point where she's going to pull that trigger. What are your thoughts? And I dare say she'll probably win the nomination against him.
Well, there's a chance of that, but I mean, I'm not going to hold my breath on any of this stuff. This is a really strange year, and it's a strange year for a number of reasons. And to be fair, I'll blame something on the president. He has not been decisive. His trademark is he's always been decisive. Even when he's wrong, he'll double down and be decisive. He's not decisive right now, and it's not just Iran; it's other things, and it's a little bit concerning for me. That one thing about Trump that was consistent and reliable was he's decisive, but now he seems to be him and Hall. And I'm not going to say he's like Joe Biden, but he's more like Obama. Here's a line in the sand. Okay, well, here's another line in the sand. Here's another line in the sand. I mean, this is like watching Obama over Crimea. That's what I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And it's affecting every race. That's my point.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, for sure. What are your thoughts there, John?
I honestly, I'm not sure what you're talking about. Somebody's running against him, against Schumer. I'd kind of lost track somewhere.
AOC going after Schumer this go around. I think she probably will go after him this time.
Well, I don't know. The thing about it is Schumer's well established, and we've seen Jacqueline Crockett. Thought she was qualified to be a Jasmine
Crockett.
Right.
She's out. Right. She's gone.
She thought she was qualified to be a U.S. senator too, and so did what's her name, the turncoat there, Green. Thought she was qualified to be a U.S. senator, and these people really, they're good in their districts, and let's face it, AOC's district would vote for a corpse. Okay, they're not voting for the best of people. So I don't think AOC would do well in the state. The state itself, if you look above New York City, can be quite conservative, quite red in various places. So I don't think she would do so good in the state.
Well, but here's the problem with that, John. I agree with you. If you take out Buffalo and the metropolitan centers running along the interstate, they're like Rochester and Syracuse, and you get over to New York, you take them out, the state is red as it gets, as conservative as it gets, and that's 95% of the surface area. But here's the thing. New Yorkers are just dumb enough to elect her because of this war. And Schumer's a Jew, and he has not really been outspoken against Israel or in this Iran conflict, other than running his mouth about a few things. And it's just enough of a toxic mix that this lunatic could actually get elected to the Senate. And then we're going to be stuck with her like we were stuck with Nancy Pelosi in the House for 40 years. It's a pretty horrifying concept to think about it, but New York is just dumb enough to vote for her for the Senate. I mean, look at Pennsylvania. We were dumb enough to vote for John Fetterman, Uncle Fester. because freaking Dr. Oz was a carpetbagger. That's why he got elected. Yeah,
Right.
And I don't want to hear that he's Republican. I don't want him in the Republican Party. Stay in the Democratic Party. If you know everything you need to know about John Fetterman, you know that we don't want him because he's not a conservative. He's another rhino.
He would
Just
be more of a
happens
centrist, if anything, left-leaning centrist. Yeah.
Let him stay in the Democratic Party.
This is the problem with the Republican Party already. It's been infiltrated.
Yeah.
Infiltrated. Yes, I can't seem to say the word. By too many people that are really on the left or belong on the left, and what we call them rhinos, of course, but they really aren't truly conservative. They tend to vote with the left too much and side with the left too much, and it's become problematic. And this is the beautiful thing we're seeing, where Trump is endorsing people, and they're saying, "Yes, that guy. Let's vote him in." And so we may actually see a shift in the Republican Party. In fact, we already have, right? Since this term around for Trump, we've already seen this shift in the Republican Party. They become more aggressive. They become more competent and handling the left, whereas before they were always falling victim to the left. And now they're done. They're done playing games with the left.
Yeah.
They're done being victims of the left, and they've been turning things around. And so people keep voting the way they're voting in the Republican Party. I think we're going to see a shift.
Yeah, I've also seen that aggression, be used in a different way, being used in a more immature way, where people that are conservative, people that are on the right, people that are more apt to vote Republican or for you, ask a simple question about your whatever it is, your values, your platform, and all of a sudden people are snapping at people that are normally Republican voters as well, because they think that that's being a leader in politics. Have you seen some of that? Because I've seen a lot of that in recent years.
Well, look, the whole thing is sad.
Yeah,
That's the bottom line.
It's politics. It's always sad.
It's depressing when you think about it. The whole thing is really, really sad. But I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that we'd see Senator AOC. Then she would be attractive to me as a date.
Oh, that's all it takes, right? That's all it takes.
Hey, that's getting close to power there, man.
How many bags do you give that one?
That's a 3-bagger on a case night.
On a case night. We're talking about a 24-pack here.
That's right. That's right. My goodness, yeah. No, she loves herself more than she loves anything else. That's the problem with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She loves herself. I can just see her in mirror, mirror. Am I sexier than the day before? No, sweetheart. Try again. You're subject to atrophy and decline. It's going to happen. Anyway,
right, absolutely. Yeah. I saw yesterday a few videos of drones hitting St. Petersburg in Russia. Some Ukrainian drones hitting St. Petersburg. Where's this conflict? When's it going to wind down? When's it going to finally come to an end?
Well, I did say 3 to 5 years on the night that the conflict kicked off, and that was in 2022. We're not to 2020. Well, what's 7 yet? So I don't think it's going to end before next year. And I'll stick to that. Now, the problem is that Ukrainian corrupt elites are making money and living life high off the hog. Zelensky thinks he's important. He's got big man complex, and he's going nowhere. He'll deny elections in his authoritarian state until the day he's booted from power or a Russian drone takes him out. And Putin is going nowhere. The one chance to take Putin out, the cowards. They went further in 18 hours than the Nazis did in 18 months, traversing terrain towards Moscow, and they just chickened out. And then, of course, he mysteriously died in a plane crash shortly after that. Right. So, but he wasn't very bright. That guy's just a thug who was brought near power, and that's why he was so stupid. Anybody that trusts Putin or Zelensky is a fool. It's like anybody that trusts Biden or Obama is a fool. I don't think this conflict is ending anytime soon. There's no pressure to end it. The Chinese agreed to buy all these commodities from the Russians, so they're keeping the Russian economy afloat. And the Europeans are arming and keeping the Ukrainian economy afloat. So neither will collapse in the meantime. So death and destruction will continue to rain down. And they'll continue to violate the airspace of Poland, of Moldova, of Romania with no consequences. And eventually they'll mistakenly kill people in those countries, or Lithuania or Estonia, something like that. It's just a matter of time, or Finland for that matter. And it's just going to keep happening because there's no pressure points to make an end. Someone has to take Putin out and replace him, or Zelensky. Otherwise, it will continue.
Yep, just going to continue, right? The death and destruction. Yeah. So, yeah, you did say 3 to 5 years. It would be interesting if it would end this year, but I don't see it happening. I mean, it's just the too pig-headed on both sides.
Exactly, and the underlying reason for the invasion in the first place has gone nowhere. The Russians haven't consolidated all the Russian-speaking areas. They blew their chance with the. I mean, I thought our strategy for Iran was stupid, and I've said so since the outset. I think the strategic or the operational strategy for Ukraine was even dumber. They launched 7 major strikes, 7 axis of approach. What is this? And they also didn't even put their T-90 tanks and their best equipment up front to win the war. They sacrificed all of their old stuff, and which was less capable, and it gave the Ukrainians time. I guess they underestimated the response from the Europeans. They thought it would be a pushover. The Ukrainians, to their credit, fought to the death early on. And instead of simply going and driving down and taking the capital, they stopped in the outskirts of Kiev, and they never got closer. And they had a drive in the north. They had the drive, 3 drives in the east, and a drive from down the Crimea. It was ridiculous. And they're busy bombing Lvov, a Polish city, which is part of Ukraine now. It's got nothing to do with the conflict. They were just terrorizing civilians. They should have focused on taking out air defense, taking out defense capability, taking out, reserve forces, but they didn't do that. And it's just been death and carnage by incompetent rubes that have no business. And here's the thing. Here's the thing that's shocking to me, Todd. I know it's been 35 years since Cold War ended, but we were afraid of this. We were afraid of the Soviets. Yeah. This is the capability that they had. I mean, they got bogged down in Afghanistan, far worse than we ever got bogged down. And they retreated from Afghanistan. Well, we retreated too, but there's no reason to retreat except we had a coward in office. But they can't defeat the Ukrainians? I mean, give me a break. The Germans rolled through the Ukraine in a matter of a couple months and rolled everything up, captured 3 million Soviet prisoners.
In all fairness, Chris, I think we've had a lot of advancements since the Cold War where the Soviet Union, Russia now, hasn't really advanced the way the U.S. has, have they? Technology and...
Oh, yeah, technology, but we also have a much smaller military. We had 7 divisions or something like that stationed in West Germany back then. My point is we were afraid of the Soviets. I mean, I'm thinking back now, I bet when they came across the inter-German border, they, probably 30% of their tanks would have just stopped working. They'd just be, non-operational, and their personnel carriers, they probably would have run out of fuel pretty quickly. But we were worried about them advancing all the way to the Netherlands and capturing all of Western Europe. And quite frankly, I'm thinking now maybe the 11th ACR could have stopped them at the Fulda Gap. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're definitely shown that they're a weak nation. Putin bit off more than he can chew. That's for sure. I was surprised because I really thought he was going to go in there. I'm like, oh, he's going to tear Ukraine up, and Ukraine's held their own.
Yeah. Well, they've only held their own because we've given them ATACMS and Hawk and Patriot missile systems and French artillery and German Leopard tanks and jet fighters from Poland and from Germany, and it's ridiculous. I mean, these countries in Western Europe are fueling this conflict, emptying out their arsenals and then fueling their economies by paying defense contractors to replace their equipment with brand new equipment, and let's watch their old stuff be destroyed in Ukraine. It's sad to see this whole thing. It really is. Remember all the sycophants everywhere. I remember I went to the World Cup in France a year and a half after this conflict started in 2023. And I'm going to French towns, and there's still Ukrainian flags flying from every window and from the church dome and everything. What a bunch of losers. We stand with Ukraine. Give me a freaking break. The country's run by a bunch of thieves, and that's what you stand behind? Give me a break.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just reading a few headlines here. Matt Schlapp, who's chairman of the Conservative Political Action Conference, or CPAC, told Newsmax that despite traditional odds, President Donald Trump and the GOP party have a, quote, fighting chance to keep congressional majorities in the upcoming midterm elections. I hope he's right for sure. But don't take anything for granted, for crying out loud. I mean, get registered to vote and go out and vote. I mean, don't assume anything at this point. You look at California and those elections where thousands and thousands of votes come in, and none of them came in for the GOP candidate, despite 20,000 votes being found somehow overnight, right? None of them were for the GOP guy.
Matt Schlapp, better known as Mercedes' husband?
Mercedes' husband, right? Correct. Yep. It used to be the other way around, but now it's not so much.
No, it's always been that way for me.
They're good people, for sure. Yeah, I know several people in DC over the years who've introduced me to them. I can't say that I know them, but I've introduced to them several times over the years. So always kind every time I've met them. So nothing negative to say about them for sure.
Oh, I'm not saying nothing bad. I'm just saying that
I'm just saying
Matt Schlapp is not the guy you hear about. It's Mercedes. And she was the one in the media much more frequently than he was.
Oh, yeah, she was on Fox on a regular basis. Of course, she was in the first Trump administration. I can't remember what role she played there. Honestly, I can't remember.
So the USA is playing Bosnia and Herzegovina right now, guys. Did you know that? In the FIFA World Cup.
Where are we at? What's the score?
I have no idea. I'm just about to check because it's been on for about a half an hour now.
Oh, baby.
Just going to go check. Yeah, the USA is in the round of 32 in the expanded FIFA World Cup, which has 48 teams and 32 of them make it into the playoffs. To me, that seems like what's going on here? Why is this? I'm sorry. You guys get ahead. My Comcast is acting up here.
All right, no problem. Colonel's going to do some troubleshooting there. Little operator headspace, maybe. I don't know, or maybe it's
no, it's Comcast. There's no operator headspace.
Maybe it's the black helicopters.
They're trying to switch me to Yahoo Mail from a Comcast Mail account. I have a Yahoo Mail. I don't want another one.
Right, one's enough.
Yeah, one's enough because it's owned by Verizon now. I don't like Verizon.
Yeah, Yahoo is the first email I ever set up, so I keep it mainly whenever you sign up for things that requires an email address. I use that, so it works out. It's a good spam email.
I've had Yahoo since it was GeoCities. GeoCities was there, and then they bought Yahoo bought GeoCities in the 1990s, and then eventually Verizon bought Yahoo Mail. It is 0-0, 31 minutes into the contest in San Francisco and Santa Clara. USA fans are excited, but we haven't scored. Why are you guys so excited? Oh, because you're on camera. Bunch of hams. Yeah, nobody scored. So there you go. I got to say this, I find soccer to be less exciting than watching paint dry, but this World Cup has had some very exciting finishes to games, including the one that just happened. The Senegal had a 2-0 lead in the 86th minute, and then Belgium came back and won the game.
Interesting.
They scored 3 goals in about 10 minutes and beat them.
Well, let me ask you, have you seen this super fan Freddie, a German super fan?
Is that the German guy?
Yeah.
No, I'm intentionally ignoring him because I think the whole thing is a fake. I think he's a photographer. I think it's all set up, and the whole thing was all set up with his account so that it would draw this attention and make money from advertisers. I think the whole thing is canned. I don't buy it for a second.
Okay.
Accounts don't just automatically, organically grow like that. That just doesn't happen.
No.
It's like for rugby. There's a guy who has a rugby account who started doing videos when I was in France, and he tried to be like, oh, this is all interesting. Look, I'm at the marina down here in Toulouse and Toulon and all this stuff. And he's a multimillionaire that flies all over the world, and he's got a big audience now. But the whole thing is canned. It's all canned. So anyway.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I just don't buy it. Oh, look, he hurt me. I'm fine. When I played soccer, I wore shin guards. Why don't these cowards wear shin guards? They all fall over when someone comes within whisper breathing space of them, and they fall over. Anyway.
Kind of like LeBron James, right, in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Bosnia was offside. I guess they must have tried to score a goal and didn't get it because it was, let's see. Oh, the U.S. was offside. No, he wasn't. Oh, we had a goal disallowed. That's what it was. We had a goal disallowed for offside, but I look at he wasn't offside. It's ridiculous. This game, it's like watching paint dry. Anyway.
So according to Newsmax opinion here, the title says it ain't over till it's over. Birthright citizenship ain't over. The U.S. Supreme Court surprised no one Tuesday when it ruled 5-4 that birthright citizenship, as provided under the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, could not be banned or limited by President Donald Trump's 2025 executive order. As Newsmax's Carl Higbee put it last night, the High Court ruled that if a woman in her 9th month of pregnancy were to wade across the Rio Grande River and deliver a child in Texas, her baby would automatically be granted U.S. citizenship, which is what we've been talking about for years. We've got to stop it. We've got to put an end to it. I don't quite understand. It was the ruling just based off of his executive order and nothing more. I guess limited.
Well, frankly, I agree that the president doesn't have the authority with an executive order to limit that because
right.
it's constitutional amendment. The problem is the interpretation. No, the problem is interpretation of the 14th Amendment. And what they've done, if that's the basis of the ruling, I'll have to look a little more closely, but that's not how it's being reported in the meeting. If they've done it simply negating his executive order, then that means it's not over. That someone should raise the point because Kavanaugh and others used the wrong precedents to cite the reasons for maintaining this perverted understanding of the 14th Amendment. The amendment was time limited. It should have had a drop dead date on it, like 1900 or something like that. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me, absolutely ridiculous. It never should have allowed to continue. It's been used to defraud. They cheapen our citizenship. They cheapen our birthright by giving to people who have no right to our citizenship, who are not loyal to this country.
I think what it comes down to, there was a lack of foresight because nobody ever thought people would want to come to this country just to have babies to anchor into the country. That didn't happen back then, did it? I mean, people immigrated, but it wasn't like it is today.
No, nothing's been like it is today. When today we're going back to the 1970s when this stuff started, and then Reagan betrayed us by giving 3 million of these criminal alien invaders the right to stay in this country in the 1980s. That's where it all started. Look, I mean, I love Reagan. His presidency was amazing, but Iran-Contra, Social Security taxation, and amnesty for illegal aliens are the 3 worst things that happened in his. And we're living with the legacy of all of them. We're paying twice as much into Social Security tax, and it still runs out of money. The first year I'm fully eligible to take my Social Security, they don't have any money. How do you imagine that? Imagine that. That's how he screwed me in 1983. Right. So that we're still living with the illegal aliens who've multiplied like bunnies in this country. And that set a dangerous precedent. And we're still dealing with the after effects of Iran-Contra, where people simply vote for the other guy because they're angry at the guy that's in office. You know, Bush begot Obama, Obama begot Trump, Trump begot Biden, Biden begot Trump. And who do we get next time? Instead of voting for someone that's the right candidate, people vote for someone because they're angry at the other guy. And that's the bottom line. It's sad.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Yeah, dangerous for sure. Now, we talked about, you know, the next Republican who's probably going to win the nomination. We kind of agreed that it'll be Rubio. What about the Democrats? Where are they at? I mean, are they just so divided at this point? I mean, you know, we had the Raging Cajun, what's his name?
Carville.
Yeah, Carville, James Carville, the other day, he talked about that there needs to be a schism in the Democrat Party and cleave off the nutters and basically have a functioning Democrat Party. Whether it wins large elections or not, it's besides the point. They need to get rid of the nutters and start to rebuild their party. I kind of agree with him. I mean, you got to cleave off the nutters. But, you know, who's their next nominee?
Well, my first question is, does James Carville include himself in that category of nutters? Because he's a wackadoodle.
He is a lot of times, absolutely.
My goodness, he looks like some kind of Cro-Magnon reject here, like somebody mixed DNA from a donkey and a dachshund. That guy, oh my goodness, and his foul mouth, you know. Good Lord, man.
Hold on a second here now, House. Hold on now. Let me talk to you.
Go chase a Chevrolet and bite the bumper, you clown. No, listen, it's the Democrats. Gruesome Gavin Newsom is going to run. There'll probably be some demon rat socialists who will stand up and, you know, and try to get attention. I wouldn't be surprised to see, you know, octogenarian, you know, Pocahontas stick her head up there. But no, the Democrats don't have anybody that could actually win in this country right now, even with the political mood. I mean, there's no way Newsom wins in this country. People are not that stupid, are they?
No.
I mean, look, there's 130 million people who vote in this country. Are we really going to have 80 million idiots voting for gruesome Gavin Newsom, who's destroyed California? And the guy, he's a flip-flopper. He's worse than John Kerry. You know, he's arguing against a tax on billionaires in California, but he wants to have one introduced for the whole country because he's jumping on the bandwagon of Democratic socialists winning 5 seats in New York. He's such a fraud, and he's such a greasy, slimy-looking weasel. I mean, he's the kind of guy you would expect to see, you know, in what was the show, the gangster show there in New Jersey with what's his name? He died now. Sopranos. Yeah, Tony Soprano. He looks like a weasel that be like the numbers guy from Tony Soprano. Yeah, with that slick back hair, with the male pattern baldness starting to slide in there.
Sleazy, bought and paid for politician. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, he's just, he used to be married to Trump's former girlfriend, who's now like the ambassador to, I don't know, to Disney
Greece.
World or something like that.
Greece.
Yeah, Disney World, Greece, same thing. You know,
Kimberly Guilfoyle.
Yeah, Kimberly Guilfoyle. Yeah, when he was the mayor of San Francisco. Look how well that city's run. Now, so he ruined San Francisco. He ruined California. Shall we let him ruin America? Joe Biden and Obama already did that. We don't need him to ruin America.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You know, and it's funny. I mean, the last time I was in San Francisco, man, just walking around, you're dodging like landmines, and it's human feces in a lot of places in some of these parks.
Oh, look, I haven't been to San Francisco since 2018. Now, the last time I was in San Francisco prior, that was 1989, 1 month before the earthquake. San Francisco in 89 was heaven on earth. It was beautiful. It was amazing. It wasn't the 1960s with Haight-Ashbury and all the drugs all over the place. It was just a beautiful geographic location, the city that had a vibe, great restaurants, great feeling. I was there in 89. And then before I went to my basic course at Fort Chuka, traveling across the country to the West Coast and then down, and I stopped in San Francisco, and it was amazing. I went there again. I'm sorry, no, it wasn't the last time I was there. I was there when I was a student again in 2000. Yeah, 1999, 2000. So the last time I was in San Francisco was 2000, I think. Yeah, 2000. So in 2000. And then the next time I went was in 2018. So 18 years later. In those 18 years, it went from a city that was gorgeous to where I had to pay $450 a night to stay in a Hampton Inn. And there was nothing going on, no convention, nothing like that. That night I didn't pay that. I used my points. I stayed in San Francisco. I couldn't afford any of the hotels there. So the 4 nights I was there, I used all my points. I used like 600,000 points or something like that. I burned through my points to go to the Rugby World Cup for the sevens there, which was amazing. Where the Giants play. It was beautiful there. But I go there. I get there in the evening. I take the train up, and I walk to my hotel. And I can't sleep because it's late at night, and I'm 3 hours ahead. But so I'm just kind of riled up. So I walk out, and I walk down the street, right downtown. And I go about 20 feet past the entrance to my hotel, and I get approached by a toothless prostitute who propositions me on the street right there. And broad daylight, it's evening, but I'm like, seriously? Sorry, sweetheart, do some dental work. I'm not interested. And I kept walking, and I passed her, and I looked over to my left, and I see an alley there that's as wide as a street. It was a pretty wide alley. And I see all these rats running around on the street, downtown San Francisco. I mean, some of them were the size of house cats. I'm not embellishing. I walked to the street corner. I'm like, oh, gee, good Lord, what have I gotten into? Because I want to walk down and find where the stadium was, how long it would take me to get there. So I stopped on the corner. I looked left. The next street over was the main street where all the shops were and where the cable car comes down and turns around. That's how close it was. So I turned right to go towards the stadium. I crossed the street, and there's a guy, I swear to goodness, dropping his pants and defecating on the sidewalk right there. I'm like, are you serious? So I had to walk around him. And then as I walked around him, you can't make this up. This is like something out of a horror film. I'm stepping around hypodermic needles laying on the street. And that was my welcome to San Francisco. It is a cesspool. It is a disgusting pit of vile, repulsive leftism and socialist destruction of America. One of the most beautiful cities in America. I mean, you go back and you watch the streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden, and the city's amazing. It's beautiful. The only problem is they drive those crappy 1970s cars made out of steel that look hideous.
We drove around the city, and of course, you just what you described was how it was. We went up near Pelosi's neighborhood and all the nice stuff. It was very clean, very well maintained, very well patrolled by police. You could tell that they were making their regular circuitous route, up and down, left and right, making sure that people are keep walking, don't stop, no camping, none of that nonsense in her neighborhoods.
Well, San Francisco does have some interesting places. They have a place called Nob Hill, which is appropriate for politicians, Nob Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Presidio, that's a beautiful spot over there. I mean, overlooks the bay. The bridge is right there.
Well, it was. It was when it was a military installation. It was gorgeous. Right. I stayed there. It's ironic because I actually stayed in the officers club in the building there, the same one that the movie The Presidio with Sean Connery. Sean Connery. And Sean Connery. Yeah, and what's her name there from Harry Met Sally? What's her name? I can't think right now. Meg Ryan. Meg Ryan, yeah.
Boom, we got it.
Yeah, exactly, Meg Ryan. So that the exact same. They actually filmed that on the Presidio. It's pretty wild. Right. I love that movie. It's really well done. But and then what's his name? The guy that was in NCIS was in that too. The guy used to be quarterback?
Mark Harmon, he was a Stanford quarterback.
Stanford, yeah. So that was a great movie. And it was actually filmed there, and I stayed there. And then the movie came out. It was like pretty wild,
Yeah, I think Mark Harmon's dad actually is a Heisman Trophy winner, I believe.
Yeah, from UCLA, wasn't he?
Yeah. Heck of a athletic family.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess pretty good acting chops. I mean, they always talked about him, but other than that movie, I never really saw him anything until he did the NCIS. I don't like NCIS, but I mean, he was on it for like 27,000 years.
Right? Yeah, he was. Yeah, he's a handsome guy. He's a handsome devil, so we'll give him that. but also, you got I think ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, the George Lucas. They have stuff there at the Presidio now. You can take a tour of that, and of course, I think you can arrange a tour of the Skywalker. No, they tell you a little bit about the Skywalker Ranch there as well. You can kind of read up on that. I think it's north of San Francisco, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you guys see that Danny Glover has got Alzheimer's?
For the past several years now, right?
I didn't know that, but he has Alzheimer's. So that maybe explain why we haven't seen him in movies recently. I mean, we got him, we got Bruce Willis. What's going on in Hollywood? Is there something in the water?
They are getting up there in age. I mean,
or there's no water because they have droughts.
Bruce Willis wasn't that old when he came down with dementia.
Right.
But Danny Glover's in his 70s. But I mean, that's pretty frightening stuff there, folks.
Right, absolutely.
I mean,
So
if it comes around that soon, I'm going to have to liquidate my stock portfolio and just buy an RV and drive around the country and start enjoying the money while I got it. Before I forget that I have anything.
Chris,
Well,
like,
he
I
was
don't want to
too-
go and not spend it.
You know what? What's funny is in like the first it's not first Law and Order. First, what was it? The first shoot. I can't think of the name. What was the movie? Blanking on the name.
About what?
So he was too old for that. I'm too old for this. Riggs and Murtaugh. What's?
Oh, that's Lethal Weapon. It's like where he
Lethal
goes in
Yeah,
the
I
second
don't know.
one with the South African consulate, and then and then what's he comes in, he goes, yeah, my friend wants to go. He wants to move to South Africa. Well, tell your friend to come in. Yeah, I want to move to South Africa, but you're black.
But it's funny. It's like during the first Lethal Weapon, he was too old for this crud back then. And
He wasn't even that old. He was in his 40s,
mid 40s. And it's like I'm older than you are, or I was older than you were. Then I'm like,
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
not too old,
Exactly. You're right. Yeah, I'm too old for this crap. When he was stuck on the toilet there when it blew up.
Yeah, too old for this crud, Riggs.
Yeah, that's all he ever said in that show. He wasn't even that old. He's in his 40s. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Good
They are
stuff.
getting old. Yeah, no, it's sad
absolutely.
to hear. It's sad to hear that people get dementia or Alzheimer's. That sucks. The one thing you need to work is your brain, and it's a shame when it
It's a
doesn't.
terrible thing when you have somebody that goes through that.
Yeah, and that's why I think that they should have retired Joe Biden when he first developed signs of dementia when he entered Congress in the 1970s.
Yeah, should have retired him then. Wah, wah, wah. So sticking close on the 4th, you both of you guys. Anyway, John, you said your truck's laid up. So what's going on with your truck? I mean, what are the issues there?
Oh, I don't know, man. I was driving a Mack 2013 Mack with an MP8 motor in it, and all of a sudden it started running rough. I'm like, well, I think I just blew an injector, so I nursed it on down to dump the load and was nursing it back, and that thing was smoking so bad it was incredible, man. I was fumigating all the 495 out there. I'm like, I better shut this down now. Yeah, I'm gonna blow a motor doing this. So I decided it's not good to nurse it. Got a tow in, and mechanic was looking at it, and at first it was supposed to be a turbo actuator, and a fuel injector went out into the thing, and now we're finding oil in the turbo, and kind of thinking a head may have went out into it as well. I don't know why the head went out, but it didn't overheat or anything like that, but it may have blown a head gasket or something, allowing the oil seepage past the head into the turbo or something, and so it turned into a mess. And this guy I work for, he's got a Freightliner that he was kind of picking away at. And in fact, unfortunately, some of the guys in the yard seemed to thought that was a scrap yard because they were taking robbing parts off his Freightliner as I was starting to work on it. I'm like, well, hey, wait a minute. This is missing. That's missing. Where's the hydraulic couplers? So now I got to go out and do some parts fetching and stuff and start putting this truck back together. And hopefully we'll have it running maybe Monday. I don't know. In the meantime, he's looking for another truck to boot. I guess he's a glutton for punishment.
John, I'm a little confused. I kind of got lost in that conversation. You start off saying you dropped your load. What?
I dropped my load. Well, I did have a load of sand on.
Sorry, I was thinking number 2 there. Sorry.
Oh, wow. Wow. Is that what you guys think?
That's what I heard. Anyway.
I did say a truck, and trucks do carry loads of freight and loads of aggregates and all sorts of good stuff. For me, it is a dump trailer, so.
All right. Fair enough.
So, yeah, that's basically my hardship story for the last couple of weeks or so, week and a half. But at least I'm staying busy one way or the other. But I tell you what, man, it gets hot out there. You get tired of turning them wrenches in the heat.
No doubt, especially the heat's out there now. It's just going to stay warm for the next couple of days. I don't know what the 4th looks like, but I hope it's a little bit of relief for people.
Oh, tomorrow's supposed to be really hot from my understanding. The 4th, I do not know. I didn't look that far ahead. In fact, I never look ahead. I figure that, the weather's going to be what it's... As a truck driver, when you spend all these years driving trucks, especially when you're doing cross-country, why pay attention to the weather? Because if you're going 500 miles or more, you're going to hit crap somewhere anyway. You just adjust to it when you get there.
Well, I don't really pay much attention to weather, too, but just looking ahead here in central Pennsylvania, apparently it's going to be 97 for a high, 73 for the low, and it's going to be partly cloudy. So, yeah, it's bearable for the 4th. Not ideal, but bearable.
Yeah, the weather app is projecting tomorrow's going to be 100 degrees, Friday 99 degrees, and Saturday, 4th of July, will be 94 degrees. It'll be a nice hot 4th of July like you would expect. I mean, is there ever a 4th of July that people aren't going, oh, it's sweltering, I'm dying here? But they get out there and they enjoy it anyway because, we are patriotic Americans, and no matter how hot it gets, at least now you can get battery-operated fans, modern-day technologies. Get your battery-operated fan and carry it with you, and your little spray bottle, and spritz yourself every now and again. And
Fair point. That's a fair point. Yeah, but the killer is the humidity. That's always what does you in. But right now, the humidity is not that bad actually here. So it's about 57%. So that's not too bad.
yeah, somewhere in Maryland, when you get down to Maryland, and it's funny, you start a trip out of New Hampshire, and you get down to it was Virginia. I caught this one time. I got down there near Richmond, and I stepped out of the truck, and it was like walking into a wall. The humidity levels were so much higher down there. It's incredible.
USA has scored in stoppage time in the first half and now lead 1-0 over Bosnia and Herzegovina. This goal was not disallowed.
All right, good deal, good deal. So as you guys see over I guess a couple of days ago, we had a 7.1 and a 7.5 earthquake down in Venezuela. Death toll is about 2,300 down there now. Ooh, man.
Yeah, it just keeps going up. It's pretty frightening. Over 68,000 where people are missing last time I looked.
Right.
Wow.
I saw some videos of people that were out fishing and watching just the shoreline just shake to death. It's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. I saw some belly aching from the left claiming that some of the people recently deported from America were amongst those who were killed.
Oh, here we go. Like that.
They were going to blame Trump for that. Yeah, they were here illegally in this country, and an act of God is Trump's fault. I already read that. It was a Washington Post. I think I saw that. They're just useless.
They wouldn't have died if Trump didn't deport them for breaking our laws.
They wouldn't have died if they weren't criminal aliens who came to this country illegally.
Right.
I don't know, man. Last time I checked, people like Trump, he's the executor of law. He executes law, and that's what he did. He executed the law as it's written and understood, and I don't think he's responsible for acts of God for doing so.
Correct. I agree 100%.
Ridiculous.
So
Looks
yeah,
like
we
the
talk
US
about
about to run out of time in the first half here, but they had a chance to score and they boofed it here. So one more last chance as we stoppage time. There's a kick, and they kicked it to Bosnia. So, shame. Soccer. Watch paint dry. Oh, here's a wide open shot. Oh, get in there. He kicked it over. Oh, my gosh. The guy's right in front of the goalpost. He's laying down like the moron that he is, missing a wide open shot. He's crying that somebody touched him. But the goal was open, and he kicked it right over the top of the goal, 6 feet in front of the goal. Oh, my goodness. U.S. could have taken a 2-0. A perfect header over to him. Yeah, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. And if the U.S. loses the game, you can lay it right there on that. That's what happens, when you get overexcited. He just kicked it right over.
Chris is over here describing soccer like watching paint dry while he's getting excited and carrying.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's these jerseys cost a lot, so I mean, we ought to get something back for the money supporting U.S. team.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, the couple that climbed the Empire State Building and threw the flag, they've been arrested by NYPD.
Good. They're a bunch of stunt fools, and I hope that they get the book thrown at them for all the crimes they committed. They think it's funny.
Yeah.
They think they're clever. They're not clever. They should go to jail.
Oh, for a minute. see over on Rikers Island. How funny? How fun is New York now, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what should happen to these people. These people just, they endanger public safety with their nonsense. Oh, we got a little bit of a fight breaking out here. We got a hockey game breaking out in a soccer pitch. Whoa, no fist flying though. That's because they're pansies. It's soccer. It's not a real man's game.
They're not allowed to use their hands.
That's true. That's right. They fight with their mouths instead. Bunch of candy butts. Anyway. Oh, there's the push. Well, that guy got hit in the chin. That's why he's crying, because when he fell, his face hit the guy's knee. Yeah, so he's crying. Well, that's a fair. Usually they just lie on the ground and cry, but this one's fair.
So he took a good face to the knee?
Yes, exactly. That's what happens when you stick your face in somebody's knee. But it's, look, the medical team is out treating him. Oh, does he have a boo-boo? Oh, that's so sad. Oh, come on, Zlatan, get up. Oh, he wants to. He's spitting. Oh, he wants to start something. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on, be a real man. Soccer.
No, I play soccer.
Can we watch girls badminton instead, please? Jeez. Oh, they took him out of the game. Probably good because he's got an attitude now. Oh, was he out of the game? Oh, he's being talked to by the official for faking the injury.
Oh, did he fake the injury to get a stoppage?
Yeah.
Isn't that like a red card or something or yellow card?
No, okay. There wasn't even a foul there on this. Who gets the ball? The U.S. gets the ball because the foul was on Bosnia, who was the guy who fell on the ground. U.S. has it, and they kick it into touch. That was dumb. Oh, what a bunch of fools. We kicked in touch. That should be the extra time now. Anyway, all right, whatever.
All right.
Soccer.
So a little play-by-play action there for everybody. USA.
That's halftime. They squandered 3
Okay.
opportunities to score, including a good one. Who's this? What's this idiot's name? I can't see. Begins with a B. We'll expose him for what a terrible player he is. Anyway, soccer. Guys. If you've got paint, just go paint. It's more fun.
All right, we got about a couple minutes there. Around the horn, John. John, final thoughts there. What between now and next week? What do you got going on?
Well, not a whole lot. Just working around the house, trying to get some stuff done in the heat. Yeah, I'm going to consider this my weight loss program, right? I'm going to get out there. I'm going to get some work done. I'm going to sweat good, and maybe I'll lose a couple pounds in the process. Lean up a little bit for the holidays.
There you go. Yeah, Colonel,
I see
what
Chris
about
thinking,
you?
he's like, I don't think I like this idea.
No, I don't mind losing a little bit of weight for the holidays. It's as long as you're not like outside sweating it out because it's going to be a scorcher. What am I doing? Well, I'm catching my breath and doing the rugby on the 4th of July. And then I've got to start planning some trips. I need to get that trip to New England, see if I can't get it in before I travel overseas. I'm planning on some overseas travel. So got to get that worked in here. And I got to figure out how to pay for it, I can't stand on a street corner with a tin cup or something like that, raise a little bit of money. So got to come up with something there. But yeah, that's kind of what's happening for me in the near term. The good news is that whatever chest infection I had last week that was miserable, it's gone. Thank goodness. Although I have to admit that I went to my neighbor's house yesterday. He's got a cat. And I left there coughing incessantly from that cat, and my chest was locked up. I had to use an inhaler last night. That's how much hours after I was there. I even showered, and I was still like wheezing at 11 o'clock at night. So, but all better now. I guess it's the frailty of human life. As time goes by, you're not as healthy as you were when you were 22, I guess. So,
What are you talking about? I'm still in my prime.
Yeah, how dare you?
If you say so, I'll take your word for it.
What was that song? I may not be as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was.
That's right.
Okay. Well, the one that I like, my favorite song is by Alphaville, Forever Young. That's the coolest song. That's the one I like. Do you want to live forever? Yes. That's a debate, guys. Would you want to live forever? I mean, I'm okay with living forever as long as I can be like the same level of fitness I was as late as 35 or 38, and with the knowledge I accumulate. If I could stay at that level of fitness and health, then yeah, I could live forever. Life is amazing. It has its ups and downs, but you meet amazing people along the way.
Well, speaking of that, this new Highlander movie, I think is in the making right now. Henry Cavill I believe, is attached to it. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that should be interesting.
Yep.
That should be really good. Yeah. Wow. Highlander. The original with Sean Connery was pretty good. And was
really good. Yeah.
Was Christopher Lambert in that? Was he in that? I'm trying to remember who was in that.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was the Highlander. And then, of course, you had the TV spinoff, too, was really great.
And did he also do that? I'm trying to remember.
No, he had a different guy. He had his, quote, cousin was in that. And then they had the movie that rounded that ended it all, where his cousin from the TV show kills him from the movie.
Yeah, but you can only kill him by beheading him, right?
That's right. All
right,
right,
there you
folks,
go.
I think that's it right there. We'll see you guys next week, 7 to 9 Eastern, right here on